When Lucy was born, you couldn't see anything different about her. She was perfectly developed, she was beautiful, perfect little child. And she started to not hit certain milestones like sitting up or crawling. And people told us not to worry about it. Every child develops differently. But my mom heart said something else was going on. Lucy at the time had a lot of reflex. She had some undiagnosed pain. She was doing some different behaviors at the time, combing through the carpet, looking for hair or pulling her hair out. And we were looking for an answer to these unusual behaviors that we were seeing. We worked with a geneticist, and they did some blood arrays, and they actually measured everything on her body, how far away her eyes are, her ears, her toes, because a lot of the times that's how something is presented before you physically see something. And I remember that they said, there isn't anything wrong. You're just gonna have to wait if you feel like something's going on.
Yeah. But the doctor said, we've done the most common tests for the most common things that might be the cause of what's happening with Lucy. So take her home, love her, and if you see something unusual, let me know. And we're like, well, what? And he said, well, I don't know, maybe her hands do this. And just that week, just twice, for a hundredth of a second each time, I saw her hands spasm into that position and then back down. We didn't realize at the time, but that was the beginning of her hands beginning to do what all Rett girls' hands eventually do. So, and we said, well, I saw that just briefly. And he said, well, there's this interesting thing called Rett syndrome. You don't panic. It's probably not likely in your case, but go home, look it up on the internet, he said. There's a couple of organizations that specialize in Rett syndrome. There's a checklist. If you think she has enough of the things on that checklist, let me know, and we'll do a test, which I think cost $5,000 at the time. So,
we looked up the list.
Yeah, and she had like 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
In small ways, little small things. The one thing she hadn't really done was have seizures, which is a huge part of Rett syndrome for many other families. But we were 9 out of 10, so we did the $5,000 test, and that was a 99.9% positive.
I know we've already done a lot today. Good
Yay! Oh, so good.
so strong.
The day that we got those results, we sat on a little porch swing and just cried.
We just swung away.
Yeah, we just swung away back and forth and just processed it together. And picked up Lucy, I think, from preschool and held her. And we didn't tell our sons because we didn't know what to tell them yet.
At the time, our boys were 7 and 12 when Lucy was diagnosed. We went out to this beautiful beach point, and we told them that it might mean your sister may never walk, may never talk, will lose her hands ability. It's like having all these big bad diseases all wrapped up in this little beautiful body. And at the time, I think I was carrying her on my back in a backpack. And we just cried.
And we told them, and I think they already kind of knew, because I'm sure we'd already started, but we said, this is going to require a lot of attention on Lucy, and it's going to mean less sometimes on you, and we're sorry. We're not sure exactly how to do it, except that we're a family of 5, and we're going to do whatever we have to do together.
You want to try with your hand? Try knocking it over with your hand, Lucy. Good job.
After Lucy was diagnosed with Rett syndrome, she went through a period of regression where she lost certain skills. She stopped engaging with you eye to eye. A lot of Lucy's regression was in her hands, where all of a sudden they were up here, kneading her shirt almost, and she could no longer use them the way she used to.
We had regression in speech as well. We went from having a lot of sounds, even though they weren't necessarily intelligible, to having full days of silence. Rett syndrome is not something you can anticipate. It doesn't knock, it just comes on in.
It's a hard diagnosis.
Yeah.
But there's joy.
So much.
And there's continual joy.
Yeah.
In everything we do with her.